Hello everybody and welcome back to Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. So today we're going to be doing a very quick video about how Donald Trump actually saved the Republican Party from basically becoming a permanent minority in this country. So you hear a lot of people on the right especially say, well, Trump, we shouldn't run Trump in 2024. He's not electable. He wouldn't win. Well, and they blame Trump for like the GOP losing. Well, without Trump, I think the GOP would actually be in a worse scenario than it's in now. And I'll prove that to you using a very epic map. So this was the 2008 election between John McCain and Barack Obama. As you can see, Barack Obama won won by an absolute landslide. He flipped Indiana, which was basically impossible today. As you can see now, Indiana voted for Trump by 16 points. Obama won it. North Carolina, Obama won it by 0.33. Trump won it by 1.3. Florida as well, critical swing state. Obama won by almost 3 points. That's like insane. But Trump also won it by actually more points than Obama did in 2008. So Missouri, as you can see, was very competitive. McCain only won it by 0.13%. Trump won it by 14%. So it is just interesting to see these few swing states, but that's more or less the South. So for the longest time, the Republican Party did very well in the South, while the Democrats did very well in the Northeast and the industrial Midwest, since the Democrats were for the longest time the pro-union, pro-working class party. And obviously, as you can tell, in 2008, Obama did very well up here. He won Pennsylvania by 10 points. He won Wisconsin by almost 14 points. He won Minnesota by 10. He won Iowa by 9. He won Michigan by 16. He won Ohio by almost 5. Obama did very well across the industrial Midwest with relatively socially conservative voters. And while, yeah, sure, McCain did decently across the South, he also only won Texas by about 11 points, Georgia by 5, South Carolina by 9, and he lost North Carolina and Florida. West Virginia was also only McCain plus 13. That's one of the most safe Republican states now. So then we move on to 2012. Let's go back real quickly. So let's go back to 2004. So in 2004, as you can see, the reason that Bush won, and keep in mind he won very narrowly. 2004 and 2000 elections were both very close. A couple states here and there, and Gore and John Kerry would have both won. 2000 election, really just one state, 0.009. One state by about 500 votes or so is the only reason the Republicans won in 2000. And as you can see here, there are a couple states that were also very competitive. Heading on to 2004. Once again, it was a little bit more safer margin for Bush, but really not that much. If Ohio flipped, which Bush only won it by about 2 points, then John Kerry would have won the election. You see similar states here. Colorado was very close. Nevada was very close. New Mexico was very close. Iowa was very close. And granted, Bush did relatively well across the industrial Midwest, all things considered. He made Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota relatively competitive, but that was because he did very well in the suburbs, which simply put the Republican Party would not do. If you look at the 2004 to 2008 swing, look how deep blue these states are, and even 2012 to 2004, the industrial Midwest keeps getting bluer. So you may hear people say that, oh, in 2004 Bush he almost won a lot of these states. That means that the states were trending right anyways. No, it doesn't, because Obama still in 2012 won them by 5, 9, 6, 7, 5, 3. So the industrial Midwest was only this competitive because Bush did very well with suburbanites, like suburbanites outside of Philadelphia. More like I guess you may call college educated elitist. Maybe not really elitist, but they're mostly white, very college educated, and they mainly liberal on certain social issues, but they're relatively conservative on economics and like things like crime and stuff like that across the industrial Midwest. Now, those people do not really make up a majority in the Midwest. I mean, they're a relatively high population area, and they're the reason that the states were competitive. But they're not enough that we could actually like win these states. We would have to do well with blue collar voters, which even in 2004 with John Kerry still voted pretty much for the Democrats, as you can see here. We only won Iowa very closely, Ohio by 2, West Virginia was only Bush plus 12. A lot of the South was still kind of shifting. So 2004, as you can see here, Bush only won by the slimmest of margins. Same thing in 2000. And while yes, the industrial Midwest was competitive in 2004, under Obama it really wasn't, because Obama brought back that coalition, and actually Obama expanded the Democratic coalition. Many suburbanites, everyone says, oh, the suburbs shifted away from Trump. They were shifting far before Trump came along, especially in like the Midwest and even parts of the South, like Virginia. Virginia in 2004 voted for George W. Bush by 8 points. 2000, it voted for Obama by 6. 2012, it voted for Obama by 4. And then obviously kept getting bluer and bluer until 2020. But that said, Virginia is a good example of this. Virginia was a long time solidly Republican state, and it kind of shows what's going to happen in Georgia and might possibly happen in Texas. no matter what we did, as we saw in states like Virginia in 2008, McCain only won Georgia by 5 points. He only won Texas by 11. And as you can see here, Texas, Romney won it by 15 in 2012, but since then, Trump plus 9, Trump plus 5. Texas, the Republican stronghold, the Republican juggernaut state, has been shifting blue. And McCain only won it by 11. Ever since Bush, who won it by huge margins, Texas has been slowly but surely, other than 2012, which was kind of a fluke because Romney was just ran a good campaign for the state, has slowly been shifting bluer. If you count out 2012, which was, like I said, kind of a fluke because Romney ran a perfect campaign for Texas, and he only won it by 15. It's not like he won it by Bush's 22 points. Texas has been shifting blue for a while. McCain won it by 11. You don't count Romney's victory by almost 16. Trump only won it by 9. Then Trump only won it by 5. Texas has been slowly but surely shifting 4 points more Democratic every single election since 2004. And Georgia as well. Romney won Georgia by 7. Trump won Georgia by 5. Biden won Georgia by 0.23. Even go back to 2008. McCain only won Georgia by 5. Bush won it by 16. The Georgia suburbs, especially the Atlanta area, have seen huge shift to the left because the state has been very open for business. A lot of people from Hollywood and many African Americans from the Northeast and the industrial Midwest have been moving back down south, making states like Georgia basically eventually Democratic strongholds. Same with Virginia. The same thing that happened in Virginia from 2004, where it voted for Bush by 8, to 2008, where it voted for Obama by 6, is going to happen in Georgia. 2016, Trump won by 5. 2028, Biden won it by 0.23. Georgia has also been shifting away from the Republican Party. North Carolina, another good example, voted for Romney by 2, Trump by 4, Trump by 1. So North Carolina is not the best example for this, but you get what I'm saying. Let's look at Arizona. Arizona is a great example. Arizona, 2008, voted for John McCain by 8 percentage points. 2012, voted for Romney by 9. It was solidly about an R plus 8, R plus 9 state. 2016, Trump only won it by 3. And then 2020, Biden flipped it very narrowly. If you go back to the early 2000s, Bush also only won it by about 6 points in 2000. So Arizona, well, it's not the best example because it is a relatively Republican-leaning state. It's just that people there aren't big fans of Trump. It is still a good example. We have been losing ground across the Sun Belt for a very long time. Texas has been getting competitive for a long time. Georgia has been competitive for a long time. Virginia's even further away. Arizona has been getting more competitive. And then for the longest time, back in like 2012, the industrial Midwest was still strongly Democratic area. I mean, look at it. Obama plus 5. Obama plus 9. Obama plus 7. Obama plus 3. The industrial Midwest, even as we were already losing in the South, like in Georgia, in North Carolina to an extent, South Carolina, Florida was still a swing state. Arizona had basically basically only moved a point right when the nation moved several points right. So Arizona we're starting to lose ground in. The industrial Midwest was strongly Democratic. So what I'm saying is, the South for the longest time has been an absolute stronghold for conservatism and the Republican Party. But even before Trump in 2012, 2008, we were losing ground there. We lost North Carolina, we lost Virginia, Arizona was already on the cusp of being competitive. And sure, Missouri and Indiana got short up, but that's what, 21 electoral votes when we lose 13, 11, 38, 16. Like I'm saying, not very good odds for the GOP in the long run. The Republicans would have to find a way to get into to tap into a Democratic area, same as what the Democrats were doing in the South, because the South was growing exponentially with suburbanites moving into the area, African Americans moving into the area, especially places like Georgia, Virginia, Arizona, and Texas. And so the South, no matter what, as we can see here, from 2004 to 2012, was shifting Democratic. 2012, 2008, not very good odds for the GOP. That said, because Donald Trump came along and because Donald Trump expanded the Republican base by running a campaign focused on things besides tax cuts and socialism, and he actually talked about immigration. He talked about tariffs and protectionism. He talked about family values and putting America first. Because of Trump's rhetoric, he tapped into this voting bloc that was staunchly Democratic. States like Iowa voted for Obama by 6 points. Wisconsin voted for Obama by 7. Michigan voted for Obama by almost 10. Pennsylvania voted for Obama by 5. Ohio voted for Obama by 3. Because Trump focused on these issues that really mattered to blue-collar and union voters, he flipped these states. Pennsylvania voted for Trump by 0.7. Michigan by 0.22. Wisconsin by 0.76. Iowa by almost 10. Ohio by almost 9. Trump won Indiana by almost 20. Missouri, Trump won by 18. Missouri was only Romney plus 9 and McCain plus 0.13. Trump came in and won by almost 19. He also shored up North Carolina by getting more blue collar voters and in the state, because North Carolina is a relatively working class state depending on where you're at. So he actually did very well in certain more rural counties with blue collar voters there. He also made the Northeast, actually, New Jersey, Clinton plus 14, Clinton plus 11, Clinton plus 13. Go back to 2012. Obama won Delaware by 18, won Jersey by 17, won Connecticut by 17. 2008, he did even better, winning it by 25, 15, and 22. Trump made these areas at least a little bit more competitive. So now, because of Donald Trump, sure, the southern areas may be shifting away from us a little bit faster than expected, but that was going to happen anyways. If no matter what we did, slowly but surely, eventually Georgia would go blue. Texas may go blue. Arizona would go blue. And North Carolina may go blue. And Florida would remain a very critical swing state. Texas for the longest time was the Republican stronghold, California was the Democratic stronghold, and Florida was kind of the swing state. Now, if because of this national environment and trends, Texas would eventually become a swing state. We would lose our stronghold. But now because of Trump, sure, Texas may be shifting away as we see it shift. Trump only won it by 5 compared to his 9-point win and Romney's 15-point win. But Florida, Obama plus 0.88, Obama plus 2.8, Trump plus 1.2, Trump plus 3.4. And with DeSantis as governor completely changing the state's attitude and the environment toward conservatism, Florida is actually becoming very quickly a solidly Republican state. So even if we lose Texas, which is not guaranteed, the Republicans have done a good job of appealing to Hispanics and trying to win back some suburban voters. So I'm not sold on the fact Texas may go blue, but that said, it is a possibility. Even if Texas were to go blue, because of Trump and because of his policies and his rhetoric, basically, Florida is going to become a Republican stronghold and replace Texas. Florida, in 2008, was an absolute landslide. Obama destroyed McCain and Republicans across the country. It was a huge victory for Democrats. Florida went to Obama by 2.8% in an absolute landslide wave year, and a historic victory for Democrats. 2020 was the opposite. It was kind of the same. I mean, sure, it wasn't a huge victory for Democrats. They only beat Trump by a few thousand votes in a few states, but it was still a solid year for Democrats, and Trump was not very popular. He won Florida by more than Obama did. That's just saying something. Trump is well liked in Florida, and Trump is going to accelerate trends in Florida. Florida is going to be a likely Republican state by the end of the decade. Texas is going to keep being competitive. Without Trump, Florida would remain a swing state. Texas would remain a swing state. And states like North Carolina, Georgia, and Arizona will continue to shift to the Democrats, as we saw from 2008, 2012, 2016. Meanwhile, the industrial Midwest, Trump has tapped into a base there. We now can appeal to blue-collar, union-type voters that would have never voted for us. But now we have a chance at staying relevant in the industrial Midwest. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. 10 years ago, no one would have said we even had a chance in these states. But because of Trump, we now do. Trump really saved the Republican Party from being irrelevant by tapping in to the industrial Midwest blue-collar voter and also doing better with Hispanics and making states like Florida shoring them up for Republicans. And yes, sure, he may have accelerated some suburban trends in like Georgia, Arizona, Texas, but that was going to happen anyway. And at least now, because of how Trump's rhetoric and how well he did across the Midwest, we now have a chance at staying relevant, which we didn't have before. So no matter what you may think of Trump, if you may think he's this like crazy guy who cost us the future, not really. He actually kind of saved us. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe for more.